So I don't know about you, but I've had my share of getting really influenced by social media and a whole lot of other things in my life and feeling not good enough until I have those abs or I have that 48 kgs of weight on my scale. The reasons were always different. In college, it was about, being 48 because my closest friend was just 46 kilos. And I was like, God, at least make me 48, if not 46. Then later on, when I grew up, the reasons changed. Sometimes, and I'm really not proud of this, but it was about being able to wear a bikini and post it on Instagram so I can get more followers and likes. And sometimes it was about, impressing that guy who I was, at least in my mind, was totally out of my league. But here is the lamest one. Sometimes I was able to convince my brain that I wanted abs out of pure self love. Like, I love myself so much that I want to see myself at my best version, which in my mind was chiseled abs, a sexy butt, and those toned arms. Like, seriously, now when I think back, I feel like, who was I even kidding? Because think about it, guys. When we're in love, like real love, it's always giving, it's abundant in nature, and it forgives easily. And you know what? It's free from ego. But this type of self love that I thought I had for me was the exact opposite. I was always fearing food I really love. If I ate a little extra, I would feel guilty and then skip a meal to compensate. I was calculating every single calorie I ate, which felt miserable, by the way. And then, even when I felt like I'd reached somewhere in terms of my body, I put up a post on Instagram being very critical of myself, saying, I'm not there yet. It's a really old Instagram post about 3, 4 years ago or something. I actually really did not like myself at all. And I operated from a place of a whole lot of insecurities and, basically not feeling enough. Self love was literally just a mask I was wearing to justify this entire madness. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not saying that all of those who want abs or want to be a certain weight are insecure. And you know what? I'm not saying I don't want those abs anymore. But I think it's always about the intention and it's about how you're treating yourself while the process is going on. It took me a lot of time actually to get here. It's been years and now things are different for me. Because the love I have for myself now is more like, what I would have for my child or for like my partner or like my best friend, where I just love them for exactly who they are. But I'm also always supportive and encouraging for them to be a lot better. It's so much easier for us to show real love to others. And I think we're always very hard on ourselves. But I also think that we're all the same. I yet have to come across a person who is, completely, madly in love with themselves in that unconditional way. I think we're all trying to strike that balance, and we're all trying to do that for ourselves. So anyway, a while ago, I read this quote and I just fell in love with it. And here's what it said. Maybe you heard it as well, but this is how it goes. Those extra 5 to 10 pounds, that place where your body naturally wants to be, that's your life. That's your late night pizza with your man. It's that Sunday morning bottomless brunch. It's your favorite cupcake in the whole entire world because you want to treat yourself. Those 5 to 10 pounds are your favorite memories. It's like your unforgettable trips and your celebrations of life. Those 5, 10 extra pounds are your spontaneity, your freedom, and your love. And I think this quote is so beautiful. Now, this quote says 5 to 10 pounds, and I really resonate with that number. I feel like if I'm 5 extra pounds, for me, that's just fine. And that number, I think, could be totally different for you. I resonate with it so much, and I feel like, why can't we just choose easy? Like, why do we always have to choose so hard? Consider for a moment what all we're willing to actually give up to get close to that perfect body. There was a survey done for, it was done for these university students in UK. Almost 1/3 of young women would trade at least a year of their lives to have a perfect body. It gets crazier. The survey also found that 16% of young women said that they trade a year of their life for their ideal body weight and shape. 10% were willing to trade 2 to 5 years, and 2% were actually willing to trade about 10 years, and 1% said about 21 years or something. Now, this was a very small survey, of course, so no one can hope that these findings are not completely accurate, but there is a lot of past science that suggests, that such body loathing is becoming very common now. The stigma against overweight people is going global. A study was also published in October in journal Sex Roles, and that found that even preschool girls are fixated with thinness. Young girls idolize their mothers so much that they literally tend to mimic them in everything. If you have issues with your weight and those issues are reflecting in your everyday life, you need to know that they are also being reflected in your daughter, and that the way she perceives, her own body image. Think about it. Everything is a first for her. This body is new. This world is new. Each time she looks at anything, she does so with the eyes that have never seen it before. So to start making sense of all of this, she has to borrow your lens. And what would you really want her to see through it? Whatever you pass on to her will become a part of her. And that can either be, the beauty and the joy that you see in her, or sadly, the many flaws that you hate to see in yourself. Love comes from love, and passing on the love that we feel for our children has to start from self-love. Now, while I was trying to get to my happy place with my body, I had a whole lot of, weight loss traps that I would actually get sucked into. All of these seemed very promising. But they were actually very mentally and emotionally damaging, So I wanted to do a video on some of those for you. So guys, here are literally the 4 weight loss traps and misconceptions that are super easy to fall prey to. The first and the most common one being calorie counting. Now, let me tell you that this works for every single person. Unless, of course, someone has a deranged metabolism, which I would love to talk about in some other video and some other time. But understand that calories are like your body's currency. Now, we've all heard of calories in and calories out. But what we don't realize is this. Less calories in means less calories out. So when you go lower than your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate, which is actually a very easy, quick way to lose weight, your body also does not have enough energy or enough calories for other things like stronger hair, clearer skin, making sure that your period is on time, making sure you have enough thyroid hormones running in your system. The time I actually did calorie counting, in a month, I kid you not, I lost 3 kgs straight away, which is a lot for a tiny person like me. But that was also the month I was not able to go to work the day I got my period. And generally my period is absolutely pain-free. So, I just didn't have enough energy. I had a whole lot of pain. And I obviously decided to stop this whole calorie counting thing. And I got back to eating enough calories. And of course, no surprises, I gained all those 3 kgs back within 15-20 days. Calorie counting gave me results, but it also really ruined my relationship with food. Now, there's another catch to calorie count, which again, I think all of you are aware of, but reinforcement always helps. So not all calories are created equal. It's so easy to forget this, especially because so many of us have calorie counting apps on our phones now. And this calorie myth is still so popular with so many health professionals and the food industry, So think about it, guys. Your body processes 100 calories of almonds very differently compared to 100 calories of biscuits. Now, what really happens when you eat biscuits just because they are only 100 calories? Your blood sugar levels obviously goes up. You barely get enough nutrients and you'll be hungry really soon. But when you eat 100 calories of pure almonds, your blood sugar level doesn't spike that much. You get a whole lot of nutrients and you're going to be fuller for longer. But visually, 100 calories of biscuits can look a lot more than 100 calories of almonds. And when you are on a diet or you're hungry, you just want to visually see more food and eat more. So a lot of people start to fear fat because fat has more calories. When they go on a calorie counted diet, they don't realize that, eating enough fat from nuts and avocado and seeds and ghee and organic butter, all of this also keeps their hormones really healthy. It's nice to do a calorie count once in a while to see what you're eating, just to know what your rough ballpark is. But look, I really believe in this one thing. I feel the way we eat is the way we live our lives. And to me, calculating every single calorie all the time is a very restrictive way to live. And I think eventually it leads to fearing food all the time. Now, here's the second trap: bulletproof coffee, ACV, lemon water with honey, raspberry ketones, some weight loss pill, I don't know what not. Now, look, I'm very aware, and I actually always was, that no one thing, no one habit or food can work like a magic pill. But I wanted to do this for all those 100 messages I get on Instagram about, will this one thing work? Guys, no one thing can work alone. It's not going to magically boost your metabolism. In fact, let me tell you very clearly, the only one thing that can really boost your metabolism is gaining muscle, which can happen efficiently only if you lift weights heavy enough and you eat enough protein and carbs in your system. Relying on any one of the other things in isolation is a complete waste of your time and also your money. Just because you start your day with fat first, or you have ACV right before your meals, it does not mean you're going to lose weight. Now, I've done this video on butter coffee and fat first, and the thing is that I stress a lot on the benefits it has on your gut and not really your weight loss. The butter or ghee first thing in the morning will actually help you regulate your insulin levels by not spiking them first thing in the morning. And this obviously will help you curb your cravings for junk all through the day, and it's going to give you a good energy boost without that added insulin spike. Similarly, vinegar is not a miracle liquid, and it can't take away the work that goes into, sort of losing weight and being healthy. These methods, all of them, only work to actually give you that extra edge and that boost when you're already eating clean and exercising regularly. There is absolutely, sadly, no substitute or magic cure for eating poorly. The third thing, now this is the most interesting to me: low fat versus keto. Now, in 1984, Times magazine had this as their cover photo. It said, "Cholesterol is bad for you." In 2014, the same magazine had this as their cover, saying, "Eat more butter." Basically, 30 years ago, low fat was a good thing, and today high fat or keto is amazing, if you go by social media. Now, I've been on keto when I was trying to get there, and during my phase of, reaching that happy place, my digestion was really messed up. And all of you on keto, this. Going to the bathroom is a real hassle. The fact is that if you are not pooping regularly, your body is not getting those toxins out in a timely manner. The bacteria in the gut actually help us digest and absorb food by breaking down carbohydrates and by actually, helping to create digestive enzymes. A healthy poop is literally a sign that your bacteria are doing their job well. If your poop is not okay or you aren't going regularly, it indicates that your gut bacteria population isn't okay, and you need a lot of help there, which is a cause of concern since your entire health, hormonal, mental and physical, guys, is tied to your gut. Trust me, if your bowels decide to shut down and stop working, over the next few days, constipation would build up, toxins would build up, your excess hormones would literally keep circulating around your blood, and this will obviously affect all the other organs, So your poop is literally not just the undigested food. It's a lot of other waste that your body does not need. So please, no matter which diet you go on, it has to support, healthy, good digestion, and it cannot be influenced by social media at all. The fourth thing is intermittent fasting. Now, I've fallen for this so many times, and don't get me wrong, I think the spiritual impact intermittent fasting has is just amazing in my opinion, and it also has a great impact on our mitochondria. But here's what it did to me mentally when I used it for the wrong reasons. Now, as long as I would fast for 16 hours, I felt like it was okay to eat junk in the middle. So over time, I realized that I just wasn't seeing much progress in my body fat percentage. Now, there's obviously, that initial boost that you get when you do anything new. So that obviously happened, but over time, I felt like my body was the same. plus my social life was getting affected. I just felt like I wasn't having that much fun and missing out on life in general, plus not seeing progress. So if you feel like you want to give this a shot, that's fine. Just make sure that you are not using it as a way to ease your guilt, because I would do that a lot. And in the 16 to 8 hours of the feeding window that you're going to keep, make sure that you're eating a more balanced meal plan and which is more sustainable and also helps you with fat loss. Guys, your body is connected. It's one beautiful, well-functioning organism. Don't treat it like a bunch of things stacked together. It really doesn't work like that. It has some basic needs, and food is the body's is our body's natural basic need, just like sleep or personal hygiene. It's like a basic life-sustaining requirement. Nobody can go through life happy while simultaneously going through life hungry or out of balance. Nobody should choose hunger over happiness. I think it's all about how to learn to actually listen to your body's signals and eat what your body really needs, but in adequate amounts or in balanced amounts. We're also different, and our metabolic systems are so different too. But the general rule of thumb is that the fewer calories you consume, the lesser calories you're going to burn. The body doesn't get enough fuel and you start feeling tired and cold and sluggish. Your basal metabolic rate drops, and eventually the body starts burning muscle tissue, which is really not healthy at all. And it all can lead to, long-term fat gain. You might even be getting the right amount of calories, but if you're basically getting the wrong kind of calories, then you're still going to end up with both health and weight problems. Guys, the core idea is balance. Like too much, or in this case, too little of anything can have negative effects, of course. And along with this, the not so secret ingredient for your success is self-love. Now, practicing self-love doesn't mean that you're going to, you neglect self-improvement. It means you accept yourself for who you are right now before you move towards who you want to be. And I think, again, this, but I have to say it, that you are much more than a number on the weighing scale, a photo, or a dress size. This body is the only home our soul has on the planet. So let's look after it. I want you to focus on actually feeling good in it, physically and emotionally. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you resonated with this stuff. And if you did, then don't forget to subscribe. And until then, live, love, and laugh.